Chelsea 3, Aston Villa 0, a comprehensive, complete display from Enzo Maresca's team. It's delightful to be sat here at the start of a very festive and cheerful period, to feel so cheery, to feel so optimistic about Chelsea. It's kind of still a strange feeling. It's one that we haven't experienced as Chelsea fans in some time. To actually kind of comprehend, are we actually good again? That's a serious question, and I want to hear your thoughts in the comments below. I am Daniel Childs. Welcome back to Son of Chelsea. I was at Stamford Bridge earlier, and I said in my preview that I was optimistic. I felt Chelsea had a good chance to beat Aston Villa, absolutely, given our form, given their form, given our form so far this year and recent performances. I don't think I expected such a dominant and revealing performance, and in some ways surprising. Not so much that, you know, some of the big performers from today were a massive shock. However, I think in the tactical way that Enzo Maresca approached this game, some of the personnel decisions he made were a little bit surprising. And, you know, just reflecting on this first period of the season and seeing where Chelsea are in the Premier League table, it's very hard to, you know, look at all of this and not come to the conclusion, at least at this point, you know, Chelsea look very good under Enzo Maresca based on where I and many others felt they were going to be during pre-season, which was very different. And as I said, I'm happy to put my hands up and always happy to be proven wrong if it means that Chelsea are winning. Oh no, my fears in pre-season were proven wrong and actually Chelsea are a lot better than I thought. Oh no, what a disaster. Like, no, obviously we're going to be happy. We're going to delve into it. I want to hear your thoughts. Who was your man of the match? What were your feelings on the game and kind of the ceiling for Chelsea this season? Because obviously with Liverpool beating City, it does kind of more cement them in the top of the Premier League, and still not entirely sure we can say Chelsea are in a title race. However, the fact that we're even pondering that conversation, I think, is something to at least address and take into account, given, again, preseason expectations. There are a bit of surprises in that starting 11, absolutely. I think the main one was seeing all three of Moises Caicedo, Romeo Lavia and Enzo Fernandez all start, and not in the way they started against Man City on the opening day, because of course Cole Palmer started, Sancho started, Neto started as well, and you're kind of looking at that formation or kind of personnel. Are we playing a back three? Is Caicedo playing right back? Because, you know, it is something he's done pretty consistently in his career. Now, if you look at kind of most football apps and the way most they've graphed it as a 4-2-3-1, which I understand, absolutely, Caicedo at times was moving over to that right hand side, but really, because Chelsea had so much of the ball, they dominated possession stats today. Just looking at the stats, possession-wise, Chelsea had 64 to Villa's 36. A lot of the time when Chelsea had the ball, we were in that 3-2-5 shape, where you had Cucurella moving into a back three, alongside Levi Colwill and Wesley Fofana, which we saw last week. Last week, it was more Benoit Badiashile in the back three. This time, Cucurella, who has played as a left-sided centre-back in a back three for Chelsea before, doing that again today. And then you have Caicedo, Lavia in front as the base in central midfield. You can almost argue it creates kind of a box midfield where Chelsea can circulate the ball and kind of get it through Villa's not great press, to be fair. And then out wide, Neto, Sancho, and then you have kind of two number 10s in Cole Palmer and Enzo Fernandez and Nicolas Jackson up front. I love the way how Chelsea approach this game. The intensity to score within the opening 10 minutes is always amazing. The intensity of Marc Cucurella on that goal was so key as well. Bursting into that challenge, winning it, keeping going. Sancho lays off the ball to Marc Cucurella, and sure, his low cross is deflected into the path of Jackson, but I still think the intention was good from Cucurella. Low cross into the box, always dangerous. And there was Jackson, first time finish for another goal. And Jackson just again proving, I think since last year, he has more non-penalty goals than Mohamed Salah, which is just insane. Again, these are numbers. We talk a lot about, you know, Cole Palmer and his brilliance. If Jackson, and he could have scored more today, there are still moments within his game that I know frustrate people. He could have scored 2 in the first half thanks to Emi Martinez sort of gifting the ball to him. But these numbers, goals and output and all-round play, he is one of Chelsea's best players in terms of how vital he is to the way we build up, to the way he offers a focal point, to the way he links up with others. I feel like every week I talk here and sing the praises of Jackson. The good thing is noticing my comments, noticing sort of discourse around Chelsea players. the most positive thing is that I think the penny is starting to drop a little bit, and people are kind of now understanding and kind of appreciating, yeah, Jackson is very good. And it's not just he's a decent forward. Actually, he is the main guy. And this is the guy you invest your time in, because all the numbers suggest this is a striker that's only getting better. And the flavour of the month strikers, we're having a lot of conversations about that. I will keep on banging the drum. For as long as Jackson is performing like this, I think there's no justification for Chelsea to go out there and sign even a youngish forward. I said this before, I have no problem looking in the market for a rotational forward, someone maybe a little bit older, who you can bring in as kind of a plan B option if you need. But Jackson is the first choice. And again, he cemented it with a brilliant first goal today. Now, to be fair to the game and kind of assessing it properly, there was kind of this period after Chelsea's opening goal where maybe the game could have turned in another direction, mainly through Ollie Watkins. It felt like Chelsea were kind of with this back three in possession, kind of, and maybe Maresca was banking and kind of having the trust and confidence in especially Wesley Fofana to go up against Ollie Watkins sort of for speed. And most of the time he did well, but there was obviously that one time where Watkins got the better of him. I think it was a poor finish by Watkins, but also credit to Robert Sanchez, because it's a massive save in the context of the game. And I felt Sanchez's distribution was tons better today. Some of the passes he played out wide especially, and just his decision making was a lot better. So for all my criticism, Sanchez, and maybe Jorgensen's form on Thursday kind of contributed to him feeling a little bit more pressure, Sanchez performed a lot better today, which obviously is a great thing. That was maybe the one moment in the game where it could have turned in another direction. But really, Chelsea, with this formation where you have, the base, as I said, that three, Cucurella, Colwell, Fofana, circulating the ball, that's where kind of our possession begins. But we were playing it quite direct at times. We weren't afraid to hit it long if we needed to, and usually that ball was sticking or coming back into a good area for us. It was mainly the way that those two number 10s really, attacking midfielders, whatever you want to say, of Fernandez on the left, Palmer on the right, the amount of times Caicedo would turn and be able to thread the ball into the feet of Palmer in that pocket of space, where really Villa found it so difficult because they were penned back to kind of anticipate that, to maybe try and cover that space, but then space would open up for Enzo. That's really how the second goal came. And the second goal was majestic. It was truly wonderful. And Enzo Fernandez is my man in the match today. He could have been man in the match last weekend, but this was one of his best Chelsea performances. I think we have to say it right here, and it's brilliant to be sat here with Enzo Fernandez and say consecutive weekends he's performed really well, because we haven't been able to say that many times in his Chelsea career. The goal itself was exquisite. The way the first time ball, really quick play, quick thinking to lay it off to Palmer. Palmer then looks back and finds Enzo again, that space opening up, that late run into the box. His first touch, Fernandez, was brilliant. Second, obviously, puts it in the back of the net behind his compatriot, Emi Martinez, and that's 2-0. And that was such a crucial goal, because we know in these type of games, despite Chelsea's dominance, despite the ability of creating so many chances and feeling like they're on top, got to take your opportunities, especially in the second half when you see they can bring on the likes of Leon Bailey and even Duran, right? Like, it could have become a much more tense game in the second half with the score only at 1-0. At 2-0, it gives you that real nice cushion. And then also, I think tactically really forces Villa out a lot more, maybe, to try and chase the game. And that hopefully creates more space for you in transition. But Fernandez all round today, in terms of his passing, his decision making, his tackling, his aggressiveness, and his ability to play in that pocket of space and really dictate things and be an instrumental part to the way Chelsea played and won a key game, I think is testament to him. And let's hope it continues, because he needs to be an integral player for Chelsea, and he has been over the past 2 weekends, and that's undeniable. It also creates more problems for opposition. As many, you want to have as many attacking problems for the opponent to deal with and to answer as possible. And the good thing is, with this game, obviously it took till the end for Palmer to get his goal. However, when Palmer maybe isn't at his best, we've had this conversation in recent weeks of when Palmer isn't there, others have to step up, and that's really, it felt like today, at least for chunks of the game. And obviously, eventually we get the Cole Palmer third goal at the end of the game. Outstanding finish. I mean, Palmer is just insane, really. And it felt like maybe he was feeling a little bit left out. So I'll just go and score the best goal of the game myself, and Will's away in celebration. Because the second half really was a case of Chelsea looking like they were pushing for a third, could have scored a third. Duran came on and really good header and clearance off the line by Levi Colwill. But defensively, Chelsea were pretty sound today. They limited Villa to very little to look at our goal. Ollie Watkins was really muscled out the game, and that was great to see. The one negative of the game before we go into the rest of the positives was, of course, Wesley Fofana having to come off injured. It was another chase with Ollie Watkins, and it appears it's a hamstring injury. Maresca said post-game very quickly, it's expected he's going to be out for 5 weeks, which effectively takes him out the festive period, which is really damaging. This is the thing that I said pre this period, that, Maresca's been very fortunate with having a fit squad. This is where those problems come in. He instantly looked at his bench and brought on Benoit Badiashile. You had a unique situation where two left-footed centre-backs were playing together. You don't usually see that. I think it's between Badiashile and Tosin, but my instinct right now, based on what I've seen in recent weeks, is that Badiashile will take that spot. Obviously, based on form and hopefully players remaining fit, Badiashile will take that place. It's such a shame because Fofana has finally clicked into gear, and I thought in that first half he had some really good moments against one of the Premier League's best and most dangerous forwards, and it feels like he's clicking into gear, things are coming together for Fofana, and then suddenly he gets another injury and he's out. It feels a little bit like the Reece James story, and I hope that isn't the case, but we've got another real injury prone player who can never really stay fit more than a few weeks. Obviously it's been a little bit longer than James, but in the same token, it's such a shame. So hopefully Fofana can return good and ready for the start of 2025 and reassert his place in Chelsea's defence, because he has been a key player in recent weeks, and for the Premier League team, for the A team, he's been a consistent starter for Enzo Maresca. The rest of the team, I mean, just looking through it here, I've got the two players I have to talk about extensively right now is Moises Caicedo and Marc Cucurella. If you talk about pound for pound consistent performances week in, week out, these are the two that for me stand out. And the reason they stand out is because they do the basics so efficiently and so effectively. They keep Chelsea's game ticking along. They win the 50-50 battles in really tight, congested areas that help Chelsea win back possession, that I think over the course of a game really add up. They may in spawn bursts not, catch the eye like Palmer playing a pass or Fernandez scoring a goal or Jackson scoring a goal or someone doing a nice flick or turn, but they make such a key difference. The amount of times Caicedo won a key challenge that stopped an Aston Villa counter-attack, or was able to pass a ball and feed a ball into the feet of Palmer that started an attack, or Marc Cucurella, in the case of the first goal, or just being there intensely to shut a Villa attacker down. I think the best moment for Cucurella during the game was quite late on, where it's still 2-0. Leon Bailey's one-on-one, quite a dangerous winger, and he just stands off, waits for his moment and wins the challenge cleanly. And the whole of Stamford Bridge applauded and started chanting Cucurella's name, because it was potentially a big moment. And I think that Cucurella and Caicedo, they're two players that you can just kind of guarantee at the moment are going to be at least 7 out of 10s. And if you can have more than a few of those players in your squad, you are onto something good. Because to have players who you know and can trust, I think Caicedo has been Chelsea's best player so far this year, based on consistent performances, like high-level performances week in, week out. I know that will still stagger some people, but I think if you've been watching Chelsea closely, I think I'm making a reasoned argument there. Yes, Palmer's goals and output and influence on this team are undeniable. He is the star boy. He is the guy that makes magic happen for Chelsea. But Moises Caicedo, I think in terms of being such a dominant central midfielder who not only creates space and creates opportunities for other people, I think the way he just adds an energy and a defensive security to that midfield that we haven't had for some time is really elevating the game. And Cucurella too, think about that, the narrative of that player too is remarkable. So I wanted to give some credit for them. Neto and Sancho were maybe a little bit more quiet. I think Neto did a little bit better. Sancho obviously coming off in the second half. We saw later on Noni Madueke take the fielding, Kunku come on, Joao Felix come on, Badiashile obviously for the injured Fofana. But overall, really complete display. I think probably the best under Enzo Maresca so far. And sure, we can look at this, and if you really want to be pessimistic, you say, Villa haven't won in so many games. But this was a game against a team we expect to be competing for Champions League football. This is a team that have come to the Bridge in the last 2 years and won. we needed to win this game. We needed to put down a statement. And all right, it isn't the same length of victory and the big win that we would have got if we toppled Arsenal or beat Liverpool. However, I think in terms of the context of this season, it's very important. You look at the Premier League table, CFC third only by the alphabet, because we're basically neck and neck with Arsenal in terms of all kind of the big key stats. And the most maddening stat of all, 2 clear of Manchester City going into December. Now, I know, again, context. This Premier League season has been a little bit weird. There have been a lot of points dropped. If you look at Chelsea, I think I was reading Liam Toomey's post-match piece where he said Chelsea are on course for like 73 points, which is not like Premier League winning, but you know, in terms of recent Chelsea seasons, would still be a decent tally. But you know, it has been a weird season so far. However, I've always been a big believer that you've got to look at the Premier League table at times in context of the season, and to just write off everything because this season's points tally was lower or higher or whatever. It'd be unfair. It'd be unfair to judge it. And I think I look at that Premier League table and you look at the underlying metrics too that people have pointed out. Chelsea are better than last season. They're going in an upwards trajectory. There is a nice feeling of optimism around Stamford Bridge, which there just simply hasn't been under this new ownership. And I think for valid reason. But you look at these performances like today, like in recent weeks, and you see the potential of this team too, the output of the attackers, the growth of players like Moises Caicedo, Cucurella. We speak about the defenders. We speak about midfielders like Fernandez starting to step up at a key point in the season. There's hope here. I don't think Chelsea are in a title race. I just don't. I think Chelsea will drop points. However, I think that it's undeniable Chelsea need Champions League football, and I think that anyone trying to tell me based off of the start of the season that Chelsea getting Champions League football is an unrealistic demand, I think are being very silly. Chelsea are more than good enough to get Champions League football. It's about that consistency. It's about that longevity over the course of a season, and that's going to be tested over the next month. But we've started this period in the best way possible. This is usually a period when stuff starts to go really wrong for Chelsea. Southampton in midweek is a 3-point must. You've got to get 3 points there. That's a team that hopefully will give you a lot of opportunities inside their own 6-yard box that we've seen so far this year. Chelsea got to be winning that game. And then of course it's a big game against Spurs, but Chelsea hopefully will go into it in a great form and feeling confident, which is what we all should be feeling at the moment. So let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Did I miss anything? Also, quickly, I'm doing my Q&A added time tomorrow again. So if you want to get your questions in, please do put them down in the comments. So if you have any Chelsea questions you want me to answer after this game, after recent games, any Chelsea issues, let me know in the comments below and I will add them to the list for tomorrow's added time. Thank you guys for watching, for listening. Follow me across the socials at SonOfChelsea, and I will see you again very soon. All the best.